Okay, here we continue our discussion of topic 958, not-for-profit entities, and the subtopic 20, financially interrelated entities. And up until this point, we have discussed what details or what defines a financially interrelated entity and what falls within the scope of this subtopic, and that's here. We've also gone through the recognition part, so what transactions and how do we recognize them in the financial statement. So now let's go into subsequent measurement. We've already recognized certain transactions according to section 25. And so how do we adjust them in the future at each period end? And that's included in the subsequent measurement section. See, here we have this pretty short subsequent measurement section. And it says that if the beneficiary has recognized an interest in the net assets of the recipient entity, pursuant to paragraph 25.2 in this subtopic, then it shall adjust that interest or share of the change in net assets of the recipient entity. So remember, as part of this section, if there are basically three entities in this scenario. There's the donor, maybe a corporation or an individual, who sends net assets to the recipient entity, with the requirement that the recipient entity send those assets to a beneficiary. So at the point when the recipient entity received those assets from the donor, the beneficiary on its financial statements recorded an interest in the net assets of the recipient entity and the amount of those assets the recipient entity received. And so now this section tells us that this beneficiary entity needs to adjust its interest for its share of the change in the net assets of the recipient entity. So if throughout the year, the recipient entity received more assets or actually sent those assets down to the beneficiary during the year, at the end of the year or at the period end, the beneficiary needs to adjust its asset account in the interest of the net assets of the recipient entity to show its interest in the net assets of the recipient entity as of the end of the period. So simple enough. At the end of the year, we just need to, if we're at the beneficiary's financial statements, we just need to find out how much assets the recipient entity has that are intended for us and adjust our asset account to equal that amount.